solving equations and inequalities with variables on both sides. So if we look at this first example, we notice that we have a term with a d on the left and a term with the d on the right. So I'm going to just put this line here to separate so you can see that there's a left and a right side and both sides have a d. So what we want to do is gather up all the terms that have the variable onto one side and all the terms without variables on the other side. And we do this by using the inverse operation. So here we have this d, which again, when it's by itself, it's like it's a 1d, and we want to cancel it or get rid of it on the right so we can put it over here on the left. So I'm going to subtract d to both sides so that I no longer have this d over here. So as a result, I end up with negative 6d minus 1d, which would be a negative 7d equals, and then we go ahead and bring down the 4. And again, we still want to isolate this variable. So we're going to divide by a negative 7 since it's being multiplied by 7. So those will cancel out, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So I divide this 4 by 7. So as a result, I have d by itself. So this d equals, and 7 doesn't go into 4, so I could keep this as a fraction as 4/7. It doesn't simplify anymore. So this is what I get right there. Okay, so here's your chance to try doing these steps on your own. Pause it, solve it, and see if you get the right answer. Okay, here's another example with variables on both sides. This should be an x right here. Sorry about that. All right, so once again, there is a left and a right side, and I'm going to distinguish that with this line down the middle so we can see both the left and the right side. Okay, so we have two expressions, so I'm going to simplify this right side first before I can do anything else, and I'm going to use the distributive property, so that's going to make this 5x because I'm multiplying 5 times x, and then 5 times plus 3 is plus 15, and now I have 7x minus 5 equals 5x plus 15. So now, once again, I want to collect all the terms that have the x's onto one side and all the terms without the variable on the other side. So I want all my x's on the left, all my numbers on the right. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this 5x. Since it's a positive 5x, I'm going to subtract 5x so that this will cancel out and no longer be over here. And whatever I do to the right, or one side, I need to go do to the other side. So I'm going to minus 5x from this 7x. So this gives me a 2x. Bring down the minus 5, the equal sign, and over here bring down the 15. And if you notice, it's kind of looking like a two-step equation, and actually it is a two-step equation now. So I'm going to cancel out this constant, this minus 5. So I'm going to go ahead and add 5 so that these will cancel, and whatever I do to one side, I do to the other side. So I'm adding 5 over here. 15 plus 5 is 20. Bring down the equal sign. Bring down my 2x that's left over here on the left. And now I want to divide by 2 to both sides so that I get my x by itself, and divide this side by 2, so I end up with x equals 2 goes into 20 10 times, leaving me with x equals 10. Okay, again, now it's your turn to try to solve using these steps. So pause it, solve it, and see if you get the same answer as I get. Okay, so if you're getting the right answers or the same answers, you're ready to move on. All right, if not, again, try again and see if you can find your mistakes or ask for some help. All right, next example. Okay, here we're going to have an inequality, but we solve it the same way we do equations, meaning I'm going to put a line down here to separate the two sides. So we have a left side and a right side. So we're going to simplify first by using the distributive property. So I'm going to multiply this 4 times the 3m, giving me 12m. And I also have to multiply the 4 times the -1, gives me a -4. Bring the inequality. And over here, I have to use the distributive property again. So I'm going to multiply the 2 times this m, giving me 2m, and 2 times the +3 gives me a +6. And so now I still have terms with variables on both sides. So what I need to do is get all my variables on one side. You don't have to get it to the left or the right, just as long as it's to one side. So I'm going to take this 2m and cancel it. So I'm going to subtract 2m over here so that I can get rid of the variable term on the right. And whatever I do to the one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to subtract 2m over here from that 12m. And that's going to give me 10m. Bring down the -4. Bring down the inequality, the greater than or equal to, and bring down this 6. So now I have a two-step equation that I'm ready to solve or start solving. So I want to cancel the constant. So we have this -4, so I'm going to +4 to both sides. So I have the +4 here so that those cancel out. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. So I'm going to add 4 here, giving me a 10. Bring down the greater than or equal to sign. Bring down this 10m. And now lastly, I go ahead and divide both sides by 10, a +10. So I'm left with m is greater than or equal to 1. So this is my solution right there. Okay, so now you try to solve this inequality on your own and pause, solve it, and check to see if you get the same answer as I do. So if you're getting the same answer as I'm getting, you're ready to move on. Very good. If not, try it again, check where you went wrong, and see if you can get the right answer this time. Okay, so this last example right here, we're going to solve. Again, if you look at it closely, you will see that both sides have variables. So that means we got to simplify the two sides. So let's go ahead and look here. We need the distributive property. So here I'm going to be multiplying a -2 times the x. So we get a -2x. -2 times a +3 will be a -6. Bring down this 5x. Bring down the inequality. Here, this one's a little tricky. You see a minus sign in the parentheses. It's like it's a -1 right here. So we are going to distribute this minus sign or multiply this minus sign to both of these terms. So I'll bring down, so we get minus x, a negative times a positive x is negative x. A negative times a +4 will be a -4. And then we bring down this one right here. So now we can go ahead and do another step. Here I notice that I have some like terms on the same side. So I'm going to combine these two together and give, so 5x combined with the -2x will give me a 3x. So I get 3x minus 6 is less than, over here I have some like terms. I have a 1 and a -4. So if I put these two together, I have 1 minus 4, which is a -3, and bring down the minus x. So I combine my like terms. Now I want to get all my x's onto one side of the inequality. So to do that, I'm going to cancel out this x on the right. So I'm going to add x over here and add x over here. So this cancels out this x. 3x plus another x will give me 4x. Bring down the 6 gives me less than -3. And this is a nice two-step equation. So the next thing I'm going to do is cancel this constant. It's a -6, so I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So adding 6 will cancel that out. A -3 plus a 6 gives me a +3. Bring down the inequality, bring down the 4x, and next I need to divide by 4 to isolate my x, or get my x by itself. So I'm dividing by 4 so that these will cancel out, and whatever I do to one side I do to the other. So I'm dividing by 4 over there as well, giving me x is less than 3/4, because 4 cannot go into 3, so I leave it in my fraction form. So this is my solution. Okay, so once again, it is your turn to try to solve this inequality on your own and see if you can get the same answer as I do. So go ahead and pause, then solve it and check your answer. Okay, so you should have gotten this as your answer. If you did, you're good to go. Move on. If not, go back and check your steps and redo it again. All right, thank you.